Hello, and welcome to the Historians podcast. I'm Des,
And I am Liz.
and today's episode we're going to be covering a spooky story for all you Halloween lovers out there.
Oh, we're losing the accent. Okay.
I can't keep it up that long. But yeah, this is our Halloween special number 2. It is my episode today, so I've been studying hard, and I am absolutely thrilled to be bringing you this fun little research project today.
I'm so excited. Again, dear listener, the household has been filled with, I can't wait to present this to you.
Like,
holy
I can't
crap.
wait to tell you. Every day I'd be reading something and I'd be like, ooh,
hold me back. Hold me back
now. And it would really sway back and forth. It'd be like, man, humanity makes me so sad. And then it would be like, oh my gosh, I hate people. And then, oh girl, it's bad.
Oh girl, you needed some sisterhood.
There's some stuff
some
that's going
sisterhood
on
of
here.
the traveling bonnet.
Yeah. Truly. Yeah, so it's been a journey, and I'm so glad to be here today telling you this with all my little pumpkin patch lit. We have the vibe set. Unfortunately, there is no thunderstorm this time around, but we'll have plenty.
Last night there was a thunderstorm, and we literally looked at each other and went,
we should have filmed. Yeah, there'll be plenty of bone-chilling experience tonight, because I do have to include a gore warning on this episode. If gore bothers you, if pain, suffering, emotional turmoil bothers you, you don't want to listen in on this one, I'm so sorry. But for those of you who are down to clown with the craziness that is about to ensue, welcome. So now I gave Liz a prompt on this.
Yes.
As we do, as one does.
Yes.
And it was pretty broad, but it was the only thing I could get to kind of get the right search results, essentially, of what you would need to actually know for today's episode. And go ahead and tell us what you got, Liz.
Yeah, so you gave me the prompt of late 16th century Transylvania, Hungary, religion, and politics. So that made me immediately think vampire. but also
Transylvania kind of has that stuck to them, that total mythic monster epicenter is kind of stitched along to their name.
And I want to say that I do not see that as a bad thing.
I don't either, but I think they do. And unless you work in the tourist industry, then it's bringing money in. But
yeah, 100%. Like, understandable that you would be going, no,
I'm just trying to buy bread. Do I really need to have the Dracula thing, with all these kids here in the store?
Oh, are you sure you want this garlic bread? Yeah,
yes.
I'm making pasta, dude.
It probably gets old.
It probably gets very old. So, during this time, it was a Habsburg kingdom, and of course, my immediate thought was, how are they going to be related to the Spanish Habsburg? Because that's where the Habsburg jaw comes from. But so during this time, during the 16th century in Transylvania and Hungary, there was a huge Protestant reform, and usually with Protestant reform comes a lot of political reform, a lot of social reform, a lot of course religious reform. It is Protestant, so there's a lot of upheaval and a lot of power imbalances and grabs, vacuums. It could go 10 million different ways. It just depends on how
it shakes things up a bit.
Yeah. So there was a lot of political fragmentation caused by the reform. And so the area was like split into 2 or 3 regions. It was like 2 regions, but then one region was split further.
Yeah, in most sources they'll say it was split into 3, but there is caveats to that.
Yeah. Okay, and then also it's important to know that the Principality of Transylvania was kind of a semi-independent state, but it was ruled by Hungarian princes from the late like 1500s onto about the 1700s. But yeah, it just seems like a lot of political upheaval.
It's messy.
It's very messy.
And it's complicated. And
it seemed like a lot of if that person says that person is not ruling, then who is ruling? Yeah. Because this person didn't get that memo that they're not ruling.
When it created a lot of problems among the nobles too, because they had to keep flip-flopping sides to kind of, keep their assets, keep their heads.
Save their own necks, literally. But yeah, so that's what I kind of came across, and
awesome.
Yeah, okay.
That's all you really needed to know, and it was hard to narrow down things because they would kind of go on, and it's like, no, you really just need to know that it was really messy.
Yeah.
There was some religious change happening, and now, the Kingdom of Hungary and those 3, parts of it, they were a very diverse region as far as like ethnically and religiously. They were very diverse, and they weren't super, like into persecuting each other until it gets to this point. The further you get into from like the 1500s into the 1600s, there is a huge uptick in like witch hunts.
Oh.
So people do start expressing that kind of stress response later on at the turn of that century, which will play, a possible role in today's episode. So first, I'm going to do our little reveal here.
Yes. Now, I did kind of, I tiptoed around some stuff, but I'm so excited to hear what this...
Yeah, so Liz did try and guess, and here's the thing. I told Liz, I was like, you can guess a million times and you're not going to get it. And I was bluffing because today we're going to be talking about the Countess Elizabeth Bathory. You called my bluff, bitch. What happened is I didn't think Liz was actually going to guess. I thought that she was going to just keep her mouth shut. But I was jokingly said, oh, ha, 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 you can guess and you're just never going to know. And she actually was like, Elizabeth Bathory. And I was like, well, I didn't think you were going to actually like open your mouth and reply to me.
But also Desi has this beautiful like poker face and she just went,
who? No. You're never going to guess.
And I'm like, dang, okay, I know that this story will make me really angry and probably really pissed. And I was like, okay, so if it's another person like this, that's great as well. Because I was like,
yeah, I just didn't think you were gonna, I didn't think you were actually gonna respond to me and guess. But 2 is that I knew if you were to make a guess that this was going to be your first guess. So I was trying to throw you off. And then when you guessed it, I was like, oh shit. I was just like, no.
Yeah, no, you played it
Elizabeth?
Off beautifully.
No.
What is this name?
Elizabeth? I don't know her at all. I haven't studied her for the past, months of my life.
See, but the thing is that I have always wanted to learn more about her, but like it never came about. So I'm very excited.
What inspired me for this was months ago, we were watching Outlander.
Yes.
And we're a couple seasons in. And there's a scene where one of the characters, Galus, is getting out of a tub of blood. And immediately in my mind, I went, that's my Halloween episode.
Yes.
I said, because it brought me back to high school, scrolling through Facebook, and you would come upon like a picture of somebody, like their portrait, and like a little world's deadliest serial killer was a woman. And then like you read the blah, 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 and you're like, yeah, but is that true?
Yeah.
It's fucking Facebook. You know what I mean? And I never looked into it until now.
I love this. Thank you.
And let me tell you,
Also, if anyone was to do this story right, it is Desi over here.
I'm really going to try because there's still some things that'll be up in the air at the end. But the story that you have heard on your little Facebook scroll is not shocking, shocker, not the real story.
Mm-hmm.
And it may come close to it at sometimes, but it is, honey, you think you know. You're about to know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the story as you have all heard it. This is a very popular story. It gets a lot of internet fame. Anytime you look this up online, it is so sensationalized. It's almost not real how they make it online. It's like, whoa, like, and trying to find sources was a nightmare for this. I had to dig and dig and dig because it was all sensationalist fucking ghost hunters and people being like, quoting somebody, which is how a story like this gets so out of hand and blown out of proportion. And so I'm going to tell you the story that most everyone will tell you if you were to look this up online or if you were to hear this from a friend or on your little Facebook feed.
This is essentially the extent of what I know so far. Yeah. So I'm excited.
And so I'm going to get into it and then I'm going to flip the truth on you.
Okay.
A little truth moment. So as you may know her, I'm also going to be pronouncing things how they are pronounced in Hungarian or Old Hungarian.
Mm-hmm.
So if it appears on your screen like I should be pronouncing a certain letter that is there, I trust you. It is not actually pronounced like that. And I may make mistakes for which I do apologize, but I'm going to try my best to keep to, what the people are actually named.
Perfect.
So as you may know her, Erzsébet Bátor was born of incest to Georgi and Anna Bátor. All of her childhood, she suffered from terrible migraines and seizures, but she was extremely beautiful and intelligent. She had a childhood full of violence and crazed relatives who would do things like sword fight in the halls, and one of her uncles was said to have committed to a certain chair in the house and to become crazed if ever asked to leave. She had witnessed at a very young age the torturing and killing of a man for trying to sell a child to the Turks. And at the young age of 10, she was engaged to Ferenc Nadasd, who was 15 at the time. They were officially married 3 years later in a wedding celebration that lasted for days, though she is rumored to have had a child with a local peasant. This child, of course, was shipped off and never to be heard of again. This marriage joined two of Hungary's most powerful noble families. But Ferenc would spend most of his life at war, only occasionally returning home to teach Erzsébet torture methods for the servants. Notably, he had even gifted her a glove that had talons at the end of it, so that she may better torture the servants. With her free time, she visited her Aunt Clara, where she had lustful lesbian orgies, and was introduced to her dark powers by Clara's servant, and she participated in alchemy and sorcery at that point. Around 1585, she begins to intensify the torturing of her servants, saying their screams soothe her migraines.
That's bullshit.
I don't think that would help.
No, because, although a couple of times I have had a migraine and I'm like, I need to listen to the hardest hit drums, and that might cause this migraine to turn into an aneurysm and take me out. But that's just me.
Well, hey, there's a reason why this is the false truth here. She'd often torture them by flogging them with nettles and stabbing pins under their nails and cutting off their fingers. But in 1601, Anna Darvolia, a witch, joined her court, and Erzsébet became increasingly cruel. Bodies began to drop. A plague, she said, was a clever scapegoat to cover the bodies, leaving the castle at alarming rates. After Ferenc's death, people suspected that Elizabeth had done it, but she ended up moving back to her family holdings in Chete, and the victims once again piled up. Allegedly, after beating a servant girl for pinning her hair the wrong way, a bit of blood splatter got onto Erzsébet's face. When wiped away, it revealed younger, firmer-looking skin, and from then on she was obsessed with killing servant girls. She would often bathe in the blood of these servants, dragging in her accomplices to help her in her court. But eventually the blood of servants was not enough. She needed noble women's blood as well. This, of course, got her in much greater trouble with the law. 12 various complaints on her actions eventually reached the King of Hungary and initiated her investigation. Judge Georgi Terzo initiated a secret investigation and interrogation of witnesses, and among the testimony were rumors that a pastor had found bodies lining the tunnels that connected the castle to the church. On December 29, 1610, Terzo stormed her mansion, catching her in the act, and hearings for her trial began. Her accomplices told all after being tortured and were burned at the stake for their crimes. Erzsébet would be sentenced to life imprisonment in her high tower for vampirism, sorcery, and pagan ritual celebration. In the end, her overall body count of young servant girls was in the 600s.
Damn, so she got to live out her life, and then all of the other people just were burned at the stake?
Yep. And we'll learn why for the real truth. So that is the mythical version that has reached popular narrative today. The real truth is what I'm going to tell you now, which is probably less exciting, but also I think it has its moments.
That's what I love the most, though, when it's like, oh, it's this, and this, and it's like, sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction.
Right. So Erzsébet Bátor was born August 7th, 1560, to two members of the Bátor family from different branches. So the branches had split off a while back, and so there was the Exet and the Somlil, and they were united in marriage by this marriage of Georgie and Anna. So technically, yes, they were related, but it's not like they were siblings. They would have been like distant cousins, essentially, which was common in nobility.
Very, very common. Honestly, the fact that they weren't first cousins surprises me.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they did it to unite the family because they had different allegiances politically. And
back in those days, sometimes that was the only way to get like
everyone get along,
some sort of peace.
Yeah, they said we need to get our shit together, marry them kids.
Yeah, ooh.
And so they did. And then, of course, Erzsébet was born. Now, she did suffer migraines like her father and possible seizures and fits in her childhood. But in general, she grew up in a relatively peaceful time in the Kingdom of Hungary when she was growing up and was kind of isolated at her family's holdings where their castle was. I mean, they had multiple castles, but their main holding was going to be in that Chete area.
Yeah.
And had a very privileged life as far as education, connections, and wealth. So nothing in here really reads future serial killer.
Apparently not hitting any of the McDonald's triad.
No.
I'm surprised I was able to pull that phrase out of my recesses of my brain.
Now, at this time, there were rumors that some of her family members were crazy, but all of the accusations...
Who doesn't have the crazy family members, hey?
Truly, but all of the things people were saying were really just seemed to be like eccentric rich people thing. Like her one cousin was like got in trouble for sword fighting in the hall. That sounds like a teenager.
Yeah, who got pissed off at one of his buddies.
Yeah, or the uncle with the favorite chair. They say he was like crazed and wouldn't leave the chair. Honey, I have my favorite chair and I'm sitting in it right now.
Yeah.
And if anybody sits in it, I'm looking at them like they got 3 heads.
Yeah, also, they never had autism back in my day. Honey, this
Honey.
Uncle found his favorite chair and he said, if I see anybody else sitting in this chair when my rear end is not in this chair, we're fighting.
Fight on sight. No, you're going to really resonate with some of these people.
Oh, call me out. Oh my gosh. Oh.
So to give you like an idea of like what was normal life like for this sort of noble class, a typical day / like week, what would be your daily ins and outs, would involve disciplining servants, kind of admin duties for them, go here, do this. You would also be administrating the holdings that you would have, and that would usually encompass whole towns. And you would often also be responsible for settling disputes among the peasantry, which they, of course, owned. So if anybody had any problems, it kind of was like that scene in Cusco where the guy comes to the emperor. Yeah. Like it was that.
They line up to air their grievances and then have final judgment.
It was a lot of admin.
Yeah.
So Erzsébet herself was fascinated by religion, the occult, anatomy, biology, and language. She actually spoke 5 different languages.
Dang.
And could write in them. So it's like she was very
Holy
well
moly.
educated, especially for this time. Most women didn't bother getting to that point.
Yeah, no.
Or were allowed to even get to that point.
No, and that shows you how either wealthy her family was, or how influential, or
Right.
how they could like throw around their weight, essentially.
Yeah.
She enjoyed the fruits of that.
Yeah. She was even described as tomboyish at times. She enjoyed male-dominated hobbies like fencing, and she often demanded equal treatment.
Well, shoot, if she's walking down to the kitchen and somebody's fencing in the courtyard,
she wants to stay on guard.
Yeah, she's gonna have to defend herself for that glass of orange juice.
Truly.
They didn't have orange juice back then. Now I want a glass of orange juice.
But yeah, she was considered, a little bit out of the norm. She was engaged very young. So at the age of 11, she was engaged to Ferenc Nadazd. And he was 16, so he was 5 years older than she was. And this was a very business-like deal to marry the families together. Unfortunately, neither's parents would live to actually see them wed. It became like a affair of the state, shall we say, for them to just be, ushered into the marriage by others.
Well, there's already been paperwork filled out.
Yeah, the deal's been cut. But before they all died, at various times throughout this wait for the wedding, Erzsébet was shipped off to the Nadazd holding of Sarver, where she was essentially to learn how to run the administration of their holdings from his mother. So could you imagine being shipped off to the mother-in-laws, being like, this is how I want my house ran for my son? Kill me now.
Truly, like,
and this
okay,
was normal. Everyone did this.
Here's a binder. Well, in Gilded Age.
Yeah.
Gladys is sent off. I mean, it's after she's married, but essentially she's set up.
They give you like a tutorial. They're like, okay, this is how it's done, bitch.
But then it's like, I'm sure that he doesn't know how the admin part of his estate is run, but he will be around to go, that's not how my mother did it.
Right. Yeah. You never hear the fucking end of it about that. That's not how my mother beat the servants. That's not how my mother had them plant the corn. Like,
my mother only bathed in blood 3 times a week. You're going on 4.
It just seems
excessive.
Yeah. So Sarver was the Nadazd hold, and essentially, like, what that means is, like, it was the seat of their ruling for their nobility.
Yeah.
And
the main house.
Yeah, it was like the main house. Yeah. And it was very different from where Erzsébet came from. This castle was full of new Renaissance charm. You got to think, we're at that age where, like, the scientific discoveries are, propelling forward, art's propelling forward. It would be amazing for her to go from this little swampy castle, which was still nice, but it's like that old money vibe.
Yeah.
To this new, nice, like shiny,
the culture shock.
Yes. Yeah. Where there's all this to learn, especially since she loves learning so much.
Yes.
So it wouldn't have necessarily been like a bad thing.
Or she was able to see stuff that she'd only read about.
Right. So it would all be very exciting.
Oh, yeah.
And once married, which was, May 8th of 1575, her life would essentially encompass managing their family's many holdings, which would include multiple castles, farmlands, fortresses, and entire towns. We're talking thousands of acres, and at one point they were more wealthy than the King of Hungary.
Oh, I believe it, yeah.
So she was kind of doing really well. I mean...
yeah, like she behind every man is a great woman, or whatever. And it's like, yeah, she's doing the admin. She's making sure people are, like, paid, essentially.
Yeah, and as far as we know, the illegitimate child rumor that pops up a lot in that very mythical record of her is likely a rumor, as the records don't line up with, like, who committed the deed against her. So it's kind of dismissed in academia as being an actual thing. It's like, it couldn't have. Because if it did happen, they made sure nobody ever talked about it.
Yeah.
Which happened. But we just don't quite know. The thing that is a little bit weird is that they had no children until 10 years into the marriage. Now, there is speculation as to why, but there is explanations for this. One, Ferenc was off to war with the Turks almost constantly.
I was about to say, more than likely, he just was not around.
No, he really wasn't.
And also, like, he might have been a outlier, and he might have been one of those nobles that's like, we'll have heirs when we have heirs, but I don't care if I don't leave an heir.
Right. Well, and he honestly was like super into the war. During this time, there was what was called the Long War between the Turks and the Hungarians. And he was good at it. He became a Hungarian war hero known as the Black Knight. So he was good at what he did. And he loved it. Like, it was his thing. So he was gone very often.
And that's like a big thing too. Like, it's very noble. Yeah. Very, very honorable. Yeah. So she was probably wearing the pride of that as well.
There's also the possibility of fertility issues, which was actually pretty common among Hungarian nobles.
Well, if he's only home for 2 weeks out of the month, she might not be ovulating that week.
Right. It could be more difficult. And, I'm sure there are people that, too, speculate if they liked each other, and that's why. But outwardly, she appeared to be a good wife in every sense of the word. And throughout the marriage, she would often appear with him in public. She would write to him very lovingly. She would always, put very flowery, nice words, around him himself.
Arranged marriage is very different than forced marriage. And so I'm sure that they came to an agreement of respect or something, because it seems
you kind of have to.
Yeah, you kind of have to, especially if your marriage was created as like a peace treaty as well. You do not want to cause any rifts on that.
So though they were arranged in marriage, they seemed to be very tolerable of one another. And when she wasn't busy managing this grand estate, she enjoyed lots of just girl things. She liked going to the spa, shopping, and going to Vienna to listen to concerts.
Women will always be vilified for their quote-unquote vanity when it's really just whatever these women like to enjoy. It's like, can a girl not just enjoy
living,
shopping, and spa time, and a live performance every now and then?
She's just a girl.
She's just a girl.
Well,
in an arranged marriage.
Yeah, in an arranged marriage. Anyways, this girl was land rich, but money poor.
Ooh.
They had to be very careful because they had a lot of assets, but not a lot of gold in general.
Mm-hmm.
So in her letters to people, they usually use the word exacting. She's very exacting. She didn't use a lot of flowery language when it came to running the estate. She was very much so hey, move this to this account.
Yeah.
Make sure to give the peasants this much bread. It was very matter of fact.
Yep.
And the pillaging that Ferenc would conduct with the Turks after, taking over their villages and stuff helped because he'd bring back all these cool relics and trinkets, but there were no buyers for these. Imagine a Facebook marketplace listing being oh, I've got this 24-karat diamond encrusted wee cover.
Best I can do is $5.
Yeah. Is this still available? 10 messages like that.
Yes, this is available. Oh, you didn't respond fast enough. I bought a different one. I responded
How
after
many gold
2 seconds.
Bejeweled wee covers are there? Truly. It's sorry, we don't need the Holy Grail. We have a nice one.
Yeah,
it's actually quite nice. So,
sorry, I don't need that saint's finger. I have the better saint's finger. Tibula.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Tibia. Tibia, a tibula, fibula.
You know what? Fuck legs. They're no longer attached by the knee. Knees are out. They're too weak.
Yeah.
We have combined all
Anybody
of the bones.
Need this gold-plated patella, let me know.
We have combined all of the bones, and it is now called the fibula.
Yep. We've consolidated the bone process. It's very futuristic.
It's great for our shareholders.
It's the greatest bones.
It's the greatest bones. You know what? Bones, it's going to be gold.
Twice as much bones.
It's going to be gold.
Gold standard bones.
And yes, the flakes will go off into your bloodstream, and it will kill you. But you'll be having the best bones for the last 6 months of your life.
Yeah. So essentially,
$5 million.
another problem they faced was they had this really tedious relationship with the Habsburgs. So, and this was on so many different levels that this was problematic, but they had religious clashes. The Habsburgs were Catholic, and Erzsébet herself was a Calvinist. So, complete fucking opposites. They had different loyalties. They kind of had to like balance and teeter on staying loyal to the King of Hungary while still like some of their family members become ruling people in Transylvania.
You're like, hey, I'm loyal to you, but also like my cousin.
Yeah.
Kind of like is your enemy, and I just don't.
I want to support him on this new business venture. Like,
yeah, and you know, it's my cousin. I support my family, you know?
Yeah, it became difficult. And then also there was debt. The Habsburgs happened to actually owe money to the Bathors. Well, I guess at this point it's the Nadazd. Because Erzsébet had married into that. But Erzsébet was,
hey, I'm going to collect on your debt. Oh, I don't have anything to pay you on. You kind of have a crown on your head.
Yeah, I see you're still wearing that gold crown.
I think that if the crown owes a family more money than they have, oops, default.
You know what? The fun fact I didn't put in here is they actually did have the money and they just never paid them.
That sounds like our current admin.
Shocker for the Habsburgs. But eventually, you know, later into like the 1600s, the turn of the century, Erzsébet was starting to clash with the clergy and odd things started happening. So a good example of this was that a servant girl had passed away, but when the clergy came to do her rites and everything, she was already in a coffin, which is odd. And Erzsébet had said that she had died of cholera and that she didn't want to start a panic for the other servants, that an epidemic was going through the house. And more did end up dying from this supposed cholera epidemic. But in 1602, the clergy call her out publicly on the pulpit. Because she would go to the same church as all the peasants. She would go to the same church in town. There's only, you know, like, who knows how many of them. And he called her out. He was like, weird stuff's been happening, and you're dabbling in the dark arts, and like, you need to stop. Like,
oh, that would have been embarrassing.
Oh, it was. She was mortified.
Mm-hmm.
She booked it home to her castle in Sarber, and she wrote a letter to Ferenc and was like, hey, they're saying shit about, they got beef with me. You need to come here and tell them the fuck is up.
If you got beef with my wife, you got beef with me, dude.
And he would certainly be good for
and
that.
Also, I own this town, dude.
He never spoke ill of her, and he always defended her honor. So Ferenc actually ends up coming home for this and defends her honor to the clergy.
Oh my gosh, it's like Jamie. Outlander always shows up in our freaking life.
But eventually in 1604, Ferenc dies. He had like an injury a few years earlier with his legs, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And eventually the illness took him.
That's what's going to happen with me. My illness
You're
and my
gonna wither
leg.
away. You better not, bitch.
Dear listener, I am currently laying on the couch, completely horizontal.
Liz threw her back out.
And I can't use my legs. My legs.
My leg.
I have this Ferenc's leg ailment.
That's pretty much what they called it, their like leg ailment. But he died, and he knew before he died that he was leaving Erzsébet in a very vulnerable position, because now she has all of these both families' assets and no one to protect her. So what he does is he sends out 2 letters.
That's how I feel if I pass. I know I'd be leaving you.
You'd be leaving me and Cora, our dog, your dog.
And Cora wouldn't help with anything.
No, she's a liability.
She is. I've almost tripped over her 3 times today.
And so he sends out 2 letters, and one is to Ferenc Bathian, and asks, you know, hey, can you watch over my wife, make sure everything's good, she doesn't get fucked over in any deals, okay? And he's like, cool, can do that for you, man.
Hey, Ferenc, I like your name. It's Ferenc, like my name.
Like my name.
I trust a man with.
And your last name is almost like Bathor, but not quite. Bathian.
Baratheon. Ain't nothing bad
It is
happened to
spelled-
them before.
It's spelled really cool. And he also sends a letter to Georgie Turzo.
Her father? No.
Her father's name was also Georgie. It's actually pronounced Durgy, but I can't really pronounce it really well without having a lisp. But there's another man called Georgie Turzo who ends up becoming the Palatine, who in the previous fake story, was her like inquisitor kind of guy. That was the
like
deputy.
the judge.
The judge, yeah. And so he, at this point, I'm like, the judge is being asked to protect the wife with all the assets. Interesting. Either way,
I'm getting Count Rollo vibes right now. Like he's singing in the church about how she's too hot.
Yep.
And making him sin. And it's like, sir, there's something in the Bible called, if your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out.
Right. Either way, now that Ference is dead, the admin duties are now overwhelming because she has both sides of it now.
Oh, yeah.
But she continues to clear debts, support Ference's old charities, and even protects the clergy, which had once publicly called her out.
Wow.
She protected their like labor rights, essentially.
A woman of integrity.
Right. So where do you think this is going?
Well, it's a woman.
I have this fun slide in here to ask Liz at this point where, if you were to try and look ahead as to where the story is going, what do you think is going to happen? Because when I was at this point, you know what? I'm going to let you go.
So, as a student of history, let's see. This is a woman with a lot of responsibility, a lot of land, and a lot of rights. So, I'm guessing people are going to start demonizing her, even though she's being very successful, because she didn't fit their sense of you should get remarried, or like a man should have some title in there. Am I wrong?
So I didn't know if you were done. Sorry.
Yeah, I am.
So how am I going to go back? I didn't think about my response. I was waiting to hear yours. So at this point, I had very similar thoughts. I was like, very much so like, you know what? She was just being a girl. And I bet these people swooped down on her like vultures. He was telling Turzo, hey, look out for her. And then he's going to be the one to be like, I'm going to get all this land and stuff. Because it seems like that's where it's going.
Well, also, it's like it's during a time of Protestant reform.
Yep.
So honestly, it might be editorializing after her death as well, where it's like it might have set some bad quote unquote precedents for what they wanted to continue with this Reformation. And so it's like, well, this woman was able to be successful and like run a whole estate and some and take care of all of these duties, and why can't I? My husband just passed. And then they're like, witchcraft.
To me, there was also at this point a rising cases in witchcraft, like that's like court cases.
Yeah.
So like there was
they weren't witches, they were women and men.
No, I think people could insinuate that. It's just that there's an uptick in like quote unquote folk magic looking to people as witchcraft
trials,
and there's trials. So it's one of those things where I'm like, I can see where this is going.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I learned an important lesson on bias by researching this project.
When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me.
You sure do. And you know what, as a researcher, you should never go into something with a bias, but we all have biases.
Yes.
And one of my biases is that I tend to believe that the woman is right and that she is just doing something because she's a girl and the person didn't understand what her thing was, and that Occam's razor, it's the most likely thing is probably the answer.
Yeah.
Which the most likely thing would be she was practicing folk magic like every other noble Hungarian at this time, and that she got caught up in it and people saw her as an easy target to take down. And you know what?
This woman really did kill people.
She really did kill people. She's just a girl.
Work. No. Eileen Mornos who?
I learned an important lesson about bias today, people. That, you know,
see, and that's your bias on thinking that women can't be serial killers, and that's the thing that we're trying to dispel.
And here's the thing, there's still going to be people that say that, oh, you know, she was done dirty. You know what? Maybe she was, because this story has been proliferated so much that who knows what's real anymore other than the person who actually lived it.
Yeah.
However, what the sources tell us are as follows.
Oh gosh.
Now, to be fair to Erzsébet, she had many new stressors entering her life. After Ferenc died in 1604, there was an uprising against Rudolf II, who was the King of Hungary and the Holy Roman Emperor at this time.
You know what? If Criminal Minds ever told me anything, it's that stressors are a big causation for unspecified subjects. When they're looking for them, because they're like, what were the life stressors? You know, oh, somebody just passed. Oh,
she had plenty.
Yeah. Somebody just took a big thing away from them.
Yeah. You know, her husband dies. An uprising happens where one of her manors is commandeered by the soldiers.
Oh, man.
Meanwhile, there's new Protestant v. Catholic sentiment going on. And she's Protestant in a Catholic's world right now with the Habsburgs.
Oh.
She was having money troubles because Ferenc's not bringing home any more loot for them to try and at least have assets.
The Habsburgs won't pay their fucking bill.
They won't pay their fucking bill. She's now in her 40s, which, by the way, time's a fucking ticking, bitch. You could live to like 50 at this time.
Yeah.
That was like, and that was old. Like, if you died at 55, they'd be like, holy shit, man. Like, it was her time. She had a good life.
She outlived us all.
She's gonna outlive us all. Yeah.
How old is she? 52.
So in your 40s, it's kind of like,
girl, you're circling the drain.
Yeah.
I feel that right now. I'm not even 30 and I'm circling the drain.
And then in 1605, it gets worse. Her brother Istvan dies. So people are dropping like flies around her. She herself is aging. She has all these money troubles because she's land rich, money poor. And she is forced, essentially because of this uprising, to jump from castle to castle to avoid raids. They're like escaping within days of raids.
Yeah.
And her property's getting damaged, which, you know what, boo-hoo, the rich, oh, they ruined my other castle. I guess I'll just go to the other. But
we'll
this
go
would have
to
been
the
stressful.
Summer home.
Right. It still would have been stressful. This is all she knew, is that these were her homes and that people are destroying them. And even her own family was trying to take her property from her and commandeer it.
Damn, I literally got married to make peace for you bitches, and now you're all
some of them just moved
taking
in.
My shit.
They would just move in, and she had to send letters being like, hey, I heard you moved in, and like, that's not cool.
She would get a letter back just with squatters' rights.
Truly. Yeah. And so I
sorry, understand. I've received mail. Actually, the mail you sent me technically solidified. That I live here.
So the shit like this was happening, it would have been stressful. And now, once the uprising was done, King Rudolph II was kind of on his way out. He went a little woohoo. And
who didn't?
And now it's King Matthias II. And he still owed Erzsébet a debt of $600,000 estimated in USD. Mind you, their coffers were well aligned with this money. They just didn't want to pay up for it, which was kind of a Habsburg thing to do. So with the uprising over, Erzsébet thanks her loyal staff with land and gifts. She was still keeping up this facade of being very generous, being very polite. She was always able to keep it together on the outside. She was great at masking.
Yeah.
And, you know, things didn't always go well with this staff, so it's kind of, you know, it's nice that she would give them gifts. Something that I didn't put in the presentation, but I think you would really enjoy, is that they had at one point a shit ton of hemp crops, and she had to send a letter to one guy once being like, hey, you owe me my weed. Where'd the weed go? I wish I had the letter. It's literally like, it doesn't read like, it reads like professional, but what she's essentially saying is, hey, I know you stole some of my weed. Give me back my fucking weed. Like,
hey, You didn't pay me.
Yeah, Erzabet Stoner confirmed. I'm just kidding. I can't confirm that she smoked it, but it was common back then too. As well as use the fibers.
Hemp is fibrous, so it would have been like, dude, you just like stole not only my flower, but like
she's
also,
like, where'd the weed go, buddy?
Yeah,
where'd
also
it go?
like the commerce that I could have gotten from the fabric and that could make.
Eventually, they switched out crops because it wasn't as profitable,
Mm-hmm.
but it was very popular back then. Now, despite all this going on in her estates, among the peasantry, strange rumors had been and were still being spread that Erzabet Bator was torturing and killing young servant girls. And it's one of those things, you just hear it through the whispers.
Mm-hmm.
All of the townspeople would know this, but none of the nobles knew about this yet. Erzabet herself.
Well, yeah, because the servants, it would spread through the quote unquote lower class first as whispers.
And Erzabet herself was known to experience extreme stress in public settings or when receiving guests at her house.
Oh my gosh.
Fucking relatable.
Just like me.
Fucking relatable. Like, I do feel bad for her because I totally get it.
She's an anxiety queen who was pushed to her limits and she snapped.
Yeah, she had a very traumatic year and now she's like, nobody fucking touch me. And I get it. I get it, bitch. And so 2 such incidents can be cited as to like examples of this. One was Georgie Turzo's daughter's wedding. She did, write letters back and forth between him and his wife and was very cordial with them. And he, of course, invited her to his daughter's wedding.
Which is a sign of like...
You, my familia.
Yeah, we're together. We are connected socially somehow.
Yeah.
Politically, socially, it is a way to show alliances, allegiances.
Namaste. My cash acknowledges your cash.
Yeah.
And so...
That was good.
So...
Namaste and cash in the same sentence.
So she fucking dreaded going to this wedding. So much so, she ignored his first invite. She left him on red.
That's you.
I feel so bad for this woman, even though I know she did all these terrible things. Like,
you're like,
work, bitch,
guys,
work.
I'm kind of worried how much I'm relating to her.
Yeah, this is concerning. She... On the second invite, she finally was like, yes, I'll go. Maybe it's because she didn't want to be in public. Maybe it's because she didn't have the cash for the wedding gift. But either way, she went to the wedding, was great during the wedding. And then in the carriage ride on the way back, one of her servant girls complained about how cold it was. She made that bitch get out, dunk in the cold river, and fucking freeze to death, essentially. Like wet, shivering. She made her stay outside.
I'll show you cold.
Yeah. All of her punishments, I do appreciate this. All of her punishments were very connected to the transgression.
That's how we were with Empress Wu, where it was like, oh my gosh, what the hell? This is horrific, but like poetic. Weirdly.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that, truly. But also it's like, I recognize art where art
is at. Yeah. So that was a good example. And then another thing was that at the king's coronation, she went as well. And then on the carriage ride back, she abused more servants, so much so that they ran off from the party and went to one of her other holdings to like receive medical attention. And they died.
Oh my gosh.
They died. Allegedly, from what the sources say, this is
just like
this is
taking
what's happening.
Them out of the carriage or
will run for their lives to get out of,
yeah, wow.
Booked it out of there. And at this time, after Farron's death, Erzabet kind of had this very curated personal court. So these would be people who, were obviously below her. They weren't nobles, but they were a select group of servants that she kept in her inner circle. The ones, she liked the most.
Mm-hmm.
And those people were Anna Darvolia, who was the supposed witch. She was rumored to be, a folklorist, medicinal healer type. The townspeople called her all sorts of things like the Butcher, and she was known for being supposedly cruel and mysterious. There was also Janos Fitzko, who had been with Erzabet since he was a child. He was brought to her as a servant as a child. And then there was Ilona Jo Nag, who was the nursemaid for all of Elizabeth's children. Elizabeth did have, at this point, probably 3 surviving children, but I believe she had 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm. I was wondering when I saw nursemaid, I was like, are there young children with her?
She would
Otherwise,
have
it's
had,
like it would have been weird for her to still be
yeah.
hanging out with like the woman who might have been the nursemaid for her, or like for
At
her
this
children.
point, she had 1 young child, and that was Paul. He was the heir, the son, essentially.
So
he
she
would
was
have been
like a nursemaid and a governess.
Yeah, yeah. He would have been in single digits at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was Dorothea. She was a friend of Ilona. And then there was Catalin, and she was a washerwoman. All, various personas.
Yeah, it's very interesting that she mistreated a lot of servants but kept a lot of servants around her.
Well, and they were all often older women though, like 20s plus, like women that
I forgot that older women meant like 40s.
Yeah. To us, older women is like, I don't know,
us.
And yeah, and back then to be into your 20s was like, well, you're fully matured. But those weren't her selected victims either. Her selected victims were usually between like 10 and 14. So these women were safe. They were in the safe zone. They're out of the danger zone.
So she essentially like punished these girls for their innocence, or like
we're wondering if some sort of traumatic childhood event could have happened in that age for her.
Like if I had to wise up and watch my mouth at this age, how can you not wisen up and watch your mouth at
your age? Yeah. Oh, you think you have it bad?
She was 10? Married off at 15.
That was Ferenc. She was 11. Oh, so this would have been that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And while she always had it together on the outside, internally she was having a breakdown. There would always be somebody to pay for it, though.
Yeah.
It was always projection.
It was whoever got the fallout.
Yes. Like,
they were in the blast range.
I had to endure a Walmart today. I'm coming home and I'm beating the shit out of somebody.
I'm breaking your arm.
That's how Walmart makes me feel. But
hey guys, that's not good. No. That is very not good and abusive and very bad.
Yeah.
And if you need to have an indicator for your family to know to not mess with you, or else you're gonna hurt them, you need to go to fucking therapy, okay?
Truly. Well, they didn't have therapy back then, and instead the bodies started piling up.
That was her therapy.
Yeah. No, and there was nowhere for these bodies to go eventually, because they wouldn't allow her to bury them in the churchyards. They'd have to sneak into the churchyards. They were throwing them over the castle walls, putting them in tunnels, wherever they could
she
fit.
Was land rich and money poor.
And money poor.
She could have used her quote unquote land.
Yeah, and she tried. Between 1609 and 1610, Chete Castle becomes her essential permanent residence, and this was part of the Bathor holdings.
Mm-hmm.
And Elizabeth got an idea. Why don't I do a finishing school for all noble girls so the children come to me?
Oh, she's a predator.
Because here's the thing. Point. Oh, she is very mastermindy.
She's like, you know what? I'll just have them come to me.
Well, it was getting harder and harder to source servant girls because the rumors were getting out.
Yeah.
She would send her crew to other towns to predatory actor hunting, agents, to get these girls. And you know what the worst part is some of these people knew the rumors and still sent their girls. I think that's the most disgusting part.
That is disgusting.
I hope those people burn in whatever version of hell is true and real.
Yeah.
But
they heard the horrors and still went, well, I already have,
And they promised these girls, you'd get to be a maid, which was better than being a little serf. Yeah. Or, you get to marry somebody who's a merchant.
Yeah, you could send money to your family. Literally, that was part of the reason why they were sent off.
It was an enticing deal. But she eventually was like, no, I'm going to get them to come to me. And so she makes this finishing school.
She's fucking up, too, because if it's a finishing school for noble children, she is not focusing on what nowadays people deem, quote unquote, the lesser dead, which is the lower rungs of society. So this is where she fucks up.
Yep. Because she starts bringing attention to these noble girls. They start dying, and she has to write to them being like, oh, there was a hunting accident, or oh, she had an epidemic problem. And it's just terrible.
She killed girls who would be missed.
She did.
in a way. And,
yeah.
and that's what a lot of like, weirdly enough, so in my brain that immediately made a connection to like modern day with the surge like in the 70s and stuff and everything of serial killers, was once they started branching out and then starting to kill people outside of the category for police of the lesser dead, that's when the police actually started investigating. And even though this person was still on the radar, but they never really investigated, as soon as somebody goes missing that is
notable,
who actually has people missing them, and then those people become an issue and a nuisance to those investigating it, then it gets investigated.
right?
So I'm guessing a lot of noble girls went missing. Guess what? Nobles have connections to judges. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
But also, I just wanted to give a little tidbit. So one of the girls did squeak a letter out to her parents, which don't even know how because she was monitoring all the mail. But
Probably
the dad came and visited the daughter, demanded to see her. She was like, no, you can't see her, she's ill. And then he's like, no, I want to see her. Daughter came out covered in bruises. He didn't take the daughter with him. He let her go back in, and she died.
No.
I would never forgive that fucking man.
What did his wife
I don't know.
say?
Who knows?
If the girl's mother was still around, oh my god.
Who knows? He I guess he must have said, hey, whatever beating you got, you deserved it. Go back in there. And then she died. Because complaints started flooding into the king's court and the Palatines. So what that is it's like a prime minister. He'd be like second in command, which as of 1609 was Georgie Turzo. So he had this role now. And, a lot of people debate whether or not he benefited from this. Like was he the bad guy? And it looks like historically that he wouldn't have had a lot of things to personally benefit from in this trial because he's not included in any of the holdings. And also at this point, she had a will written up.
But also, like, he probably should have. I don't know if that was a thing back then, but like nowadays, it would have been like you should recuse yourself away from the.
Oh, this was not a thing back then.
Yeah, because you have a personal
Get ready
connection.
To be disappointed.
Yeah.
And he actually tried to like strike deals with her son-in-laws, saying that like he would try and get her for a lesser sentence. He would aim to get her into a convent and to not be killed. He was really trying, it seems like, to get her the least amount of punishment.
Sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, so it wasn't like he was trying to kill her, because if he wanted to benefit from it, he would have killed her.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He was really trying to just have it move on because he didn't want to hurt the Nadazd name. And March 5th of 1610, he ends up sending out 2 letters to deputies and tells them, hey guys, round up the boys, collect witnesses and exclude no one. So women, younger people, older people, servants were all included in this first round of witnesses. And they collect over 52 stories, but it's still not enough evidence to convict her because a lot of the people didn't firsthand see what was happening. They just heard about what was happening.
Oh.
Now, of course,
they had just heard the whispers.
Yeah. So they couldn't be like, oh, I've seen, her do this. So Erzsébet finds out about this investigation and is obviously pissed and goes on a writing campaign and even gets one of the noblewomen whose daughter died at her place to vouch for her in the court. It looks kind of weird. It's giving a lot.
It's really giving like those wilderness camps.
Yes. Yeah.
Where people would send their
no, your daughter's having a great time. She just got mauled by a bear. It's no big deal.
And then they're like, oh, straighten out my kid. Well, we use unconventional methods.
Yeah, it was exactly like that. And nobody believed her. So
meaning
September 3rd.
They abused them.
Yeah.
To get them to submit.
So September 3rd, she writes her last will and testament. And this is important because she's kind of reading the writing on the wall and saying, hey, I don't want the king to get all my shit. I want my heirs to get my shit.
Hey guys, if you've ever taken anything from this podcast, it's read the fucking writing on the wall.
Yeah. The king, of course, is getting impatient because this is a huge fucking deal. Yes. And Turzo even visits before Christmas trying to get her to like own up to it, to just get like a guilty plea. No avail. And then the king visits with him on Christmas Eve, and she supposedly tries to poison them by making a cake with her bathwater. She Belle Delphined it. She
no.
hired this witch. She has this witch in the forest she would go to that was like a folk artist, medicine lady. And she said that, like, oh, if you can like bathe in this tub and then like pour some water in with some creek water and use that water to make your baked goods, then like you can influence the decision of people. So it was like she was using magic.
How rancid are you? Okay, go and steep yourself in this water.
A stinky little tea bag.
Then bake with it, and whoever eats it,
they got sick, obviously.
Yeah.
And they left because they thought she was trying to poison them, so she did not help herself.
You know what? It's better than the dog piss cake that they would use in witchcraft trials.
So after this, another charge came in against her, and Terzo couldn't stall any longer for her.
Yeah.
December 29th, 1610, Terzo and her two son-in-laws, with armed escorts, stormed one of her manors that she was staying in and Chete Castle. They put her under arrest. They found the bodies of dead girls hidden all over her holdings. One was actually still living, and she was taken to be cared for to, prevent her from dying. And then they also arrested her court of accomplices and put Erzsébet on house arrest. These accomplices were taken to be tortured into confession.
Yeah.
Which was normal. No matter,
very normal.
Everybody was tortured into confession. I honestly wonder what would happen if you were like, no, I'll tell you everything. If they'd still torture you, because it seems like they would.
Well, I have tortured this wretched soul until 2 on my calendar. And if I don't fill that with that, I don't know what I'd do. Yeah. So
do I still get paid?
Sure, I got your confession, but like your arm is looking very straight still.
Yeah.
I think that I need to break. Also, why am I thinking about a broken arm a lot? It's my back that hurts.
So out of all 300 plus like witnesses that they eventually got for this, the main takeaway for this is that nobody ever saw her bathing in the blood. The bathing in the blood thing is completely false. Nobody can prove it. She doesn't mention it anywhere. Nobody else mentions it in their testimonies.
I'm bathed in his blood.
Well, and think about it. How much blood would it take to make a bathtub, or even a little sitz bath or a whore bath? You'd need more than one body.
How much blood would a blood
I think someone did the research that it would take like 14 bodies to fill a tub.
I mean, she had a lot.
She would have, but not that. She'd get like one go. It wouldn't be an everyday thing or an every week thing. I think
that if anything, well, also like it probably morphed and evolved. But like, if anything, it was if she did anything, it would be like in American Horror Story, Coven with Kathy Bates' character who dips like a brush in blood and then brushes it on her skin. She wouldn't bathe in his blood.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. And also this rumor didn't start till like I think it was the 1800s.
Yeah. It makes it more deplorable, more depraved.
Yeah, more exciting.
Also, I don't think they really realized how much blood a body has.
No, I don't think they did as well. So, in general, to list you a summary of her crimes as stated by her main circle of people.
Okay.
The things that would happen when she was upset. No matter
trigger
what.
Trigger warning.
Yes, trigger warning, people. This is the part you don't want to hear about. Regardless of the servant's transgression, I mean, she would match it to their crime against her, essentially. But among them would be sewing the servant's mouth shut.
Probably for gossiping.
For sewing, bad sewing skills.
Oh, bad sewing. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
They would be dipped into a river and left to dry naked in the cold. They would have needles placed under their nails. Ooh. She would actually, when she was sick or too lazy to get out of bed, she would have them come over to her and she would bite a chunk out of them.
What the fuck?
Specifically the shoulders. One of Anna's specialties was binding the hands until the fingers bled from the pressure.
Oh my gosh.
Bludgeoning limbs to complete uselessness, and cutting open the edges of the mouths by pulling on them. Absolutely depraved, creative torture methods. Many of these accomplices put the blame on Anna, saying that like she was the worst of them and that she was like the one that would do a lot of this for Erzsébet if asked. But she was dead at the time of this trial. She had just died. And so she's often thought of as like maybe a scapegoat.
Yeah.
But it's all agreed upon that everyone's account in her inner circle was the same.
Wow.
They all had the same story. And they all said that Anna, like, things got worse when Anna came.
So Anna was like,
and it's like she was
full on, like she was like, oh no, I'm getting enjoyment from this.
Yeah. Their estimates of the overall dead were between 36 and 51 girls, all of which were usually between the age of 10 and 14. The main takeaway from all of the witnesses and all of that is that it's consistent accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Among them, Catalin was considered the least bad of the bunch because all of these assistants also helped in these crimes. They would also torture, they would also hide bodies, but Catalin was considered least bad of the bunch because she often would tell Erzsébet to stop when she thought they'd had enough. She also would try and bring the starving servants food, and she herself was punished for that once.
Yeah.
And because of that, she wasn't punished as bad as the others. But Fitzko, Anna, Dorothea, Ilona, all of them were mutilated and then burned at the stake for their crimes. Specifically, the women got their fingers ripped out and then were burned. And you'll love this. Fitzko, because of his advanced age, was given a much nicer punishment, and he was beheaded and then burned at the stake.
What the hell?
Make that make sense.
So he didn't even feel the flames licking at his flesh.
That was supposed to be the nice part about it. The problematic thing about this entire trial is that Erzsébet is never brought to testify. And there's a reason for that. The king wants her out of the picture, which would, likely be her testifying. But if she testifies, she might be sealing her death.
Yeah.
And Terzo doesn't want this to happen. He is promised to protect the Nadazd honor.
Well, he was specifically requested, hey, protect my name before he died.
Yeah, and my wife and everything.
Her husband died.
So he's trying to think, what's a way that I can manipulate this so that the king's happy, but I don't have to kill her. And Terzo ends up saving the day with a Hail Mary loophole that was called the Master-Servant Rule. And what the Master-Servant Rule is it's whatever the transgression of the servants is, falls upon the master. So this way, Erzsébet doesn't have to testify because it's not about Erzsébet, it's about her servants and their transgressions. They tortured people too. So it's on Erzsébet that they were doing these terrible things to people. So she can then get this conviction without being directly attached to the killings and without needing to testify. So Nadazd honor protected. Erzsébet probably, doesn't have to die. She of course tries to bring in Gabor Bator, who was the Prince of Transylvania at this time. But this is not enough. The king wants this bitch dead because he owes her money. And it would be much easier to just knock her off than it would be to pay her back.
I don't have to pay her back if she's dead, right?
Right?
Well, it'll weigh, yeah.
No.
Okay, kill her.
This asshole didn't realize she had a last will and testament. He wasn't going to get shit anyway. But he orders a new investigation with more witnesses from other properties and specifically wants the people closest to her to be interviewed. Now, this results in a less than favorable result to many noble families because the servants start spilling dirt on everybody.
Yeah.
And the king's like, whoa, man. You didn't need to bring in those names.
He opened Pandora's box.
He did. And so he was like, you know what? I don't love this. And Terzo said, hey, you know what? I'm going to cut you a deal. And in the end, the king agreed to this deal, which listed 5 main points. That Erzsébet would be imprisoned for life. All of the king's debts would be forgiven as if they never happened. The king would receive a small portion of her land. The trial is to be sealed away forever. And by parliamentary order, the name of Erzsébet Bator is to never be spoken of again in polite society.
Huh.
So in the end, she is locked into the living compartments of Chete Castle. Likely in the tower where the living compartments would have been. It's a very aesthetic.
It's not really even a punishment.
It's not.
She didn't like going out in public anyways.
This is true. I didn't think of it like that. Damn. You're right, though. She's like, finally.
No.
Oh my God.
Oh
like,
no, I'm under house arrest.
Oh no, I don't have to go see people and do things.
Oh no, all my groceries are delivered to me now.
Truly. So she lives there for a few years, and in August 18th of 1614, Elizabeth Bathory dies in the night. So we honestly, looking at the numbers, there is no consistent number. We may never know the true numbers of victims that she tortured and killed.
Could be even more.
It could be more, yeah.
It could be less.
I'd say the low ball is that 30 to 50, and then the more would be, yeah.
Especially if she...
Probably not 600.
No. But, like, if she went from servants then to nobility, that's an escalation.
Yeah.
And that says that her hunting pool essentially ran dry.
Yeah.
Meaning that was a lot of people dead.
And there's a lot of speculation as to why she did this. Some think it was like that traumatic year where things came crashing down. Some think that she chooses the young girls for like a power dynamic. Some people have even suggested, I mean, there's always going to be with that vampirism, there's going to be that suggestive feminine energy where it's a power dynamic of the dominance versus the pure. It's fucked up, man.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to be wrong. And there are still people that think that she was done dirty and that, who knows, she might have just been preyed upon. And this is the narrative they wrote down. And this is what they hope people would find.
Yeah.
But from the sources we've seen is that she just had a mentee bee.
More than likely, she was a wretched bitch who, wretched bitches have been throughout all of history. Maybe it's because I'm
you gotta have something to live towards, these days.
But also, it's like it might be because I'm in pain right now. But I'm like, yeah, sometimes there's a wretched bitch, but also I do think that there were a lot of stressors. Also, the age of her victims is very interesting to me, like from a psychological...
Well, they're easy to get. There's lots of them. Yeah. People are willing to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And send them away and ship them off. And also, they're not going to fight back.
And they are just newly entered into this power dynamic of, no, you listen to your
boss.
Your boss, your master. So, and they were told that before they were sent off by their family, like, you listen, you don't say anything, you
say yes ma'am, whatever. Yep.
And then
if you got beat, you probably deserved it.
Yeah, so when you were told, oh, well, this is now your punishment, you go, oh shit, that's probably my punishment. Who am I gonna tell?
One of the girls was caught stealing a coin. Elizabeth heated up the coin over the fire and set it in her hands. I think, like, I don't condone this behavior.
No.
But it is that poetic, like, she would take whatever was the problem and she would make it their problem.
Very Hammurabi's code.
Yes.
It's eye for an eye. It's like...
Which makes it so engrossing as a listener. And this is why this story is so enchanting to people.
Yeah.
Because the absolute horror.
And also it's so odd that like, a woman had this power and so much power that she was able to go quote-unquote unnoticed.
And a lot of people speculate, like, oh, well, wouldn't have Ferenc known about this? Yeah.
He was away.
But he was away most of the time. And when he came back, it wasn't a big deal.
Also, it was women's work. She did the admin.
She dealt with the women's servants. Yeah. He dealt with the male servants. Yeah. None of the male servants were whispering, hey, did you see my... They didn't give a shit.
No.
So it really was able to be compartmentalized to her favor.
Yeah. It was a lot of, probably, of also... woman couldn't do this. Like, she couldn't, she's not up for that. Or, like, up to that snuff.
Yeah, nobody believed it. That this was, the person doing this. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't even think Terzo thought that she was doing it. I think he, up to the very end, was going to defend her no matter what, because that's what he promised.
Yeah.
But a very fascinating story. It gets twisted through the ages about the whole bathing in the blood thing, which is just not true at all.
Bathed in his blood.
And so it is just very fascinating. I was pleasantly surprised and had my ass handed to me.
Yeah.
So
I love those types of research projects, though. I love when my thesis gets blown apart.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, a lot of people hate it, but it's like, hey, let the research guide you.
Yeah.
You know, and also there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, my thesis was proven wrong. But guess what? I did find this out.
Yeah.
So I have this proof, or like these proofs. I love research so much. Thank you
Me
so
too.
much. This was
You're
amazing.
welcome. I hope our listeners have enjoyed this Halloween special podcast.
I loved it. It was wonderful. I got to think. I got to exercise my brain muscles. I got to think about psychology.
Got to listen to a really terrible girl boss story.
I mean, even the worst terrible girl boss story is really good terrible girl boss story. Oh, I need to take some more ibuprofen.
On that note, we'll leave you to it. I hope you guys all have a very happy and safe Halloween.
Yes, and always remember, check your candy. Just kidding. That was a big hoax, so don't even do that, guys. Just eat
it with a wrapper on.
Wrapper on, gullet thrown down your
like
gullet.
A snake.
I want you to make somebody gag the way that you are just consuming candy this season, okay?
Trick or treat? How about both?
You be throwing tricks and you be getting treats. Mm-hmm. Amen. The way that the trick or treat gods intended.
Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in to the
Hystorians.